I was going on a 3-month holiday, right? Stopping in Singapore and getting over to Australia for Christmas. And beautiful holiday in Australia. Got away very, very handy because soon afterwards they had problems. But I got to Singapore on the 2nd of March and I was going to go to the St. Patrick's Day ball. But the restrictions were so bad that everything was shut down. Everybody was just inside. So in actual fact, I really have been confined for until now. It's been pretty bad. It's been pretty bad. And the lockdowns in Singapore are very strict. Very, very strict. Saying that the people obey, but it's, you know, it's not great. It's not great. I thought I'd never get home. I was like E.T. I want to go home. Singapore is beautiful, but so hot that at this stage of my life, going around sweating all day and your clothes are damp, it's, you know, it takes the good out of it when you're in heat all the time. You're talking about going from 30 to 32 degrees and you look into your phone to connect yourself with Limerick and it's only 16 or 20. So I thought I'd never get out to breathe the fresh air again. It sounds awful, I know, but I'm very grateful to my daughter for having me, and you know, it's so different. Things are so different now.
Why did you want to come back to Limerick so badly?
Well, home is where the heart is. And I knew I'd been on a lovely holiday and I just looked forward to coming home again. I have a lot of friends here and there's a great community spirit in Cardathan. So that, you know, all through the years, I mean, I'm a long time here. I'm over 50 years here. And I was married for 50 years, so I'm more than 50 years here. And I was involved in Girl Guides and things like that, so I got to know people. So it's just that I needed to come home. I just wanted to come home. You see, it's different. The way of life is different. The food is different. I'm not into these pastas and stuff, but the food is very different and the lifestyle is very different. And I know that everybody thinks it's very, very glamorous, but let's face it, if you come down to earth, this is the country I want to be in. I'm on a lot of medication, right? And I had to actually get my medication sent from Limerick to Singapore because I was running out. It was very difficult actually, but managed to get that, and everything was okay as far as the medication was concerned. And you know, I don't mean to be ungrateful. Everything was great. Everything worked out fine. But when it comes to the push, and you're looking in on the news every day, you look in the news and you look at the Limerick leader, and you say, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. You get very lonely. So I'm just glad to be home. On the way over, I went from Limerick to Amsterdam and Amsterdam to Singapore. I stayed in Singapore for a week and I went on to Australia. And Australia is a beautiful country and I wanted to see my son. And I had a wonderful holiday there. But I was coming home to this St. Patrick's Day ball because there's a lot of Irish people that are there that I'd met the year before. So stayed a few months in Australia and then came on to Singapore, and that's where the problem started because they wouldn't let me out. I had to apply for my visa several times, to renew my visa several times, you know, so.
And you,
yeah.
When you flew back just over the weekend, you went from Singapore, did you go via Amsterdam, or how did you fly back?
You see, I actually have been going to Singapore and to Australia for the past few years.
Oh, okay.
Since my husband died, I have to go alone. But I've been several times and made the effort. In saying that, travelling actually is very good because I went by KLM. They couldn't do more for me. I went in a wheelchair. I couldn't praise them enough because everybody was so nice. They were they were treating me as royalty, putting me in cotton wool.
What was the flight back like? Were there many people on it?
Pardon?
Were there many people on the flight coming back?
Actually, it was amazing. The few people that were on the flight, it's absolutely unbelievable. The part of my plane was, there was two of us sitting there, myself and my grandson, because he was going to London, and there was only another two people then there at the far side, and went down. It was so different from any other year. It was unbelievable. The airports aren't packed, or I couldn't believe it. It wasn't busy. Nothing was busy. You got in quite easily because there was loads of room and there was loads of everything, you know. So I wonder, will they survive at all? Because those long flights are, you know, they're expensive, and they're running there with about what? If there was 50 people on that plane, we would have been lucky, I'd say. It was very...
You have your birthday.
Yeah. The changes are unbelievable. The changes are just unbelievable. Saying that again, it's very, very safe because they wear a mask and gloves, and the issue with all sorts of things. And there's nothing to be afraid of because it's very, very safe. You know, everybody seems to obey the rules. Everybody seems to obey the rules. I don't know about Ireland now because I'm not back long enough, but there's safe distance. You know, they really, when you go to shop in Singapore, you have to sign in, and you have to give your sign. That means identify yourself, and then they take your temperature, and then you go in, and somebody else pops over and takes your temperature, and they seem to be just taking your temperature all the time and safeguarding themselves, I suppose. But I have to say that they are very, very careful, and I suppose it pays off in the long run. You know, I don't like to say this, but I'm 88 on the 4th of October. And I'm not used to being interviewed, I can tell you. And I hope it's not going to be on the front page, the leader. That's what I miss most. The leader isn't the same when you're reading it on a blooming phone. And it's great to be able to hold the paper up and go from page to page and get all the information you need.
Were you ever worried while you were over in Singapore? Were you ever...
What's which?
Were you ever concerned as to your safety while you were in Singapore, while you were over there for 6 months?
Well, the past 6 months, in actual fact, I was locked up for 6 months because restrictions were bad and they were warning people about this, that and the other. So I actually was you know, it was just that I couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't go anywhere really, except maybe to the shop or whatever have you, or for maybe a drive around and back in again. But I have been really locked up for the length of time in Singapore. You know, I couldn't go anywhere. And because of my age, I was that bit scared because they were saying that the elderly were getting, you know, knocked up. So.